Are both Centaur renders any good in patch 6.1.2? They are not simply good, they are extraordinarily powerful as a whole, but I wanted to go over the details so that you understand the ins and outs in comparison to things like Kadai Fireborn. You want to be aware of the quirks. With that in mind, let's leap in with dual axes. Recruited for 1500 gold and 375 upkeep. On Ultra scale, you get 16 entities with 9,856 health between them, so they are beefy enough to compete with the likes of Minotaurs for sheer durability. The default unit has armor 50 with a shield that blocks 35% of small arms fire. As I type this, I'm listening to another YouTuber marking these down heavily because you shouldn't be this concerned about a range disadvantage, but situations vary. Missile resistance is 25% regardless of the shield. Fire resistance of 15% is far milder than the Kadai, so they function a little differently in terms of fire synergy with their own strengths. Leadership 75 is sufficiently solid not to overtly worry. Speed 62 and charge speed 100 is good for the charges and feels remarkably slow for a quote-unquote cavalry unit, monstrous as it is. Melee attack begins at 32 with an attack interval of 4. Splash target size is medium, so regular cavalry on down, and max target splash is 3, like the Ogre standard. Melee defense is 48 default, which should be shocking to you for a unit considered an offensive prize. Weapon strength of 114 is split between base 34 and armor piercing 18, with no special bonuses. And as I did not mention it, and it's not here, no magical attack, no flaming attack. Charge bonus of 40 is far from nothing, but let's be perfectly blunt, it's a charge bonus on par with much maligned light cavalry from various factions. Of course, it's on a unit that hits a lot harder against armor and in general. Mass is 1700 per entity, which will make it much easier for them to pull through heavy Chaos Dwarf infantry than some. The unit counts as a siege attacker, can hide in forest, causes fear, and since they're mutated Chaos Dwarfs, they do use the Contempt mechanic, and therefore have utility anchoring hobgoblins and laborers that Kadai do not. The Great Weapons and Dual Axes versions both cost 1550 gold and 387 upkeep base in current patch. Aside from lack of shields, the key differences with Dual Axes is 36 starting melee attack, 42 melee defense, not 48 because they don't have the shields, a seriously nuts bonus versus infantry of 18, and charge bonus of 52 stock. The Great Weapons version, on the other hand, has 34 melee attack, melee defense 36, so the least around, but these have a bonus versus large of 25, which is why they are so comparable to another great, fantastic, monstrous unit, Minotaurs with Great Weapons. Charge bonus is 46 stock in this case. So we see that they're meant to attack very different kinds of problems, all meant to resist certain levels of missile fire, and having varied kinds of favored prey. Though the shielded version is especially robust on defense, you are rarely using them because you actually are prioritizing defense. You're just counting on them being anti-armor, and having defense that is within spitting distance of Chaos Knights to keep them bashing rival cavalry. None of these are useless, it's just the Great Weapons one has the most obvious and the most visible upside against particular enemies, and enemies the faction has fewer great options against. In contrast, the Great Weapons renders are a fantastic option not just for the faction, but across all rosters. On that note, in the Redline skills, Crushing Charge is exclusive to this unit type, at 3 pips providing weapon strength plus 12% and charge bonus plus 9 flat. Both of these things are really nice. At rank 7, they're rolled into Kadai and so on with Wretched Warhost for weapon strength plus 12% again, charge bonus plus 12 flat again, and physical resistance 10%. All of those are fantastic and is a flat-out the rich get richer situation. In the tech tree, Living Metal, which is sought after you buff the Hobgoblin side of the coin, grants armor plus 15 and melee defense plus 5, so that heavily shores up the defensive side. Temple Training as a unit cap armament saving of 10%, plus 5 melee attack, and only rank 7 and above renders will get perfect vigor with this, which is still just amazing, and the fact you can get this just by progression and not Hellforge help is potentially lovely. Speaking of the Hellforge, the very first ability you can get with a Bound Demon of Murder, and this is not the same one as for the Kadai, here you get Murderous Charge. Seriously, edgelord stuff. This has a 25-second duration and 30 seconds of recharge, triggering when a charge first happens and recharging in melee only. The intended use is obvious, but what about the benefits? Mass plus 50%, and they start at 1700. Charge bonus plus 40%, meaning this jacks up the flat charge bonuses from the redline skills. Charge speed plus 30%, so that easily becomes 130, and acceleration plus 20% to get to that speed faster. It's good. Is it mandatory like Frenzy and extra powder for others? Slightly tougher call. Soundproofed armor is like the Missile Infantry and grants Vanguard deployment, and if you have forests to hide in, this is just wicked and evil stuff. Bound Seeker Demon enables Devastating Flanker. This might not mean as much unless you pair it with Murderous Charge. And they have wonderful charging animations for getting in and doing splash damage, so have at it. Hellforged applies that attribute, making them eligible for Demon Smith healing. Niche, but you can use it. Bound Blood Demon grants Blood Greed, which gives increasing effects based on enemy kill count. So against pure Ogre armies, utility is limited, but like with Minotaurs, this gives immunity to psychology and can ramp up to plus 20% armor-piercing damage, which is most of their damage, plus 15% charge bonus, and plus 16 melee attack. You can see the potential. The only bad thing is it's not Gore-Greed. Lifesteal provides what Gore-Greed would have, meaning strength from flesh. For 0.15% heal per second in melee only, so 50% better than the Hunger. It's good. It's really good. Visage of Fear, despite the name, causes terror to the unit. Nice. Bound Barrier Demon racks up the score with 800 barrier hit points before their considerable health goal is defiled. So how do we use Bull Centaur renders? The various flavors dictate favoring different prey, but that's about it. You just try and jack them up as high as possible with buffs, launch them into contact against thorny and crunchy targets, and have them slash their way through. Ideally, that is not the end of your plan and you are providing meaningful support. The more buffs they have, or the more suited to the particular target, the less they need it. I can say a lot of great things, but beyond the differences in flavor, the unit is not actually that specialized. It's a great general-purpose heavy hitter to counter other people's heavy hitters, but aside from general high quality, it's nothing unique until you get these later campaign buffs. These can be good, because you don't need to worry about fire resistance with them, and I mean on the enemy side, but it also means that Kadai upside can go beyond what the renders can provide in particular situations, and you're paying stiff upkeep either way you go. Overall, your constant worry is insufficient melee attack to take advantage of that weapon strength because you're not playing greenskins and you don't have WoW army abilities. Or here we go. That's on you, your leadership, and your magical support. And besides, your ranged game is much better than what the greenskins can have, so there. So, if there's a concern, it's that your side's ability to support what the renders are doing is more limited than what the other factions might be able to do. And even with that mass, pulling them out of trouble is going to be harder than driving them into it. Well, it's like that with lots of cavalry and monstrous units too. Get a feel for them, appreciate how they can fight and kill their way out of trouble, and get those buffs where you can. They are good at addressing units that cause trouble for Chaos Dwarf Infantry, or that threaten the key missile units that can solve such problems, so they are a vital source of both offense and defense for the faction. Finally, remember, speed 62 and it doesn't naturally go up. Be wise with them. If the Snow Leopard was a free safety, these are your linebackers, with considerably more beef to tackle with, but still faster than actual linemen. Take care, and have fun tearing, ripping, and rending the foe apart.